Welcome to the Core Women Podcast, the place for women entrepreneurs, authors, and self-starters looking to build community and gain valuable insights through expert interviews with women at the top of their game. Join your host, podcaster, producer, expert coach, entrepreneur, and author, Dr. Summer Watson, as she aims to inspire and empower you through these candid conversations. Lean in and embrace the journey. It's time to start the show. Here's your host, Dr. Summer Watson.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Summer Watson. Today is a really special moment for me. 400 conversations, 400 stories, 400 reminders that leadership is not a title, it's a human lived experience. Now, over the years, I've had the privilege of sitting with incredible people, leaders, creators, thinkers, healers, builders, each one bringing their own truth into this space. And what I've learned is this: we don't lead from theory, we lead from experiences. So for this milestone episode, I asked a simple but powerful question. What experience most shaped how you teach, lead, or guide others today? Because the way we lead, the way we mentor, the way we show up for others is always rooted in something we lived through. Today, you'll hear reflections from a handful of amazing guests who have shared the core women space, voices filled with honesty, wisdom, growth, and humanity. My hope is that somewhere in their journeys, their stories, you find yourself and maybe even discover something about the leader you're becoming. Let's take this opportunity to embrace what these folks have to say, and let's begin. Thanks for listening.
Congratulations to Dr. Summer Watson and Core Women Podcast for 400 incredible episodes. My name is Viviana Krall, and I write stories about reluctant heroines. So what experience most shaped how you teach, lead, or guide others today? Mount Kilimanjaro stripped me of the lie that effort equals speed. Training for it in my 50s, twice. It's a long story. I kept waiting for the moment I'd catch up to younger bodies, louder confidence, the men on the trail who kept saying this was easy. It wasn't. The mountain asked something quieter: attention, restraint, stubborn presence. 1 foot, pole, one breath. No proving. That's how I teach now. I don't rush people toward outcomes. I watch how they move through discomfort, how they listen to their own limits. In a world drunk on the grind, I teach staying power.
Introducing Carol Jean Whittington, who is going to answer the question, what experience most shaped how you teach, lead, or guide others today?
The experience that most shaped how I guide others today was the worst burnout of my life over 20 years ago. I was a mom of 2 little boys under 5. My husband was overseas in a war. I was working in hospital administration and thought I understood leadership. And then my body stopped. I became so depleted that I was bedridden. I couldn't even lift my arm to feed myself. And one night, lying there at my lowest point, I realized something that changed everything for me. I knew how to lead organizations, but I didn't know how to lead myself. I had identified so completely with my title and my role that when everything was stripped away, I didn't know who I was anymore. I couldn't even answer a simple journal prompt. It asked me, "What do you actually like?" That moment taught me that leadership doesn't begin with strategy or responsibility. It begins in relationship with yourself. Since then, my work has been about self-leadership first, not through pushing, fixing, or performing, but through learning how to listen to the body, the one that we try to silence most often, how to restore alignment between our heart and our head, and live from a place that's steady and filled with compassionate curiosity for ourselves. Today, I don't teach well-being science through worksheets or words alone. I model it through presence. because how we are is what gives others permission to do the same.
Introducing Chastity Dion, who is going to answer the question, what experience most shaped how you teach, lead, or guide others today?
The experience that shaped me the most in how I teach, lead, and guide others today happens to be my time working at Chick-fil-A. I feel like that was my first representation of getting to see servant leadership in action. And I try to model myself in that type of leadership style. I like being a servant leader. There's no job that's too small for me. There's nothing that I would ask those who are under me to do that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. So I would say that experience is the one that helped shape how I lead the most today.
Hello, my name is Cindy van Eekhout, and I'd love to tell you a bit more about the experience that most shaped how I teach, lead, or guide others today. So for me, it was realizing the difference between financial success and true wealth. So let me go back a little bit more in time. So early in my career, I spent 8 years in a large corporate environment. And on paper, everything looked successful. I had a strong role, financial stability, bonuses, a company car, I was doing well. But internally, my energy was low, my mind constantly overloaded, and I felt exhausted and disconnected. And I was sacrificing my health, my relationships, and myself in the process. And that realization became my turning point. So my husband and I, we made the bold decision to leave that corporate life and to move all the way to the south of France, where we built, in the meanwhile, already 4 heart-led businesses together. And it was that journey that taught me something really fundamental. Financial success, it's great. But financial success alone, it is not the same as true wealth. True wealth for me, it includes freedom, it includes energy, health, presence with loved ones, and of course, the ability to enjoy the life you're building. And it was that understanding that changed completely how I lead and mentor others today. I don't help high achievers just chase more success. No, I help them create success that feels as good as it looks.
I'm Claudia Wyatt, your enthusiasm igniter and self-doubt eraser. What experience shaped how you teach, lead, or guide others? Well, I've been through the mud. I've been through the darkness. I've muted myself. I've dimmed my own light. I've forgotten who I was and what I was meant for. And when you've gone through that kind of darkness, that deep withdrawal from yourself, you know how hard it is to claw your way back. You can lead through the heart because you can relate to others and show them what is possible. Because if I can do it, you can do it. And when you come out on the other side, you make a difference.
Hello, my name is Destiny Amaris Perkins, and I'm answering the question, what experience most shaped the way that I teach and lead? I have to honestly answer with a blend of two, because it is 2 major things in my life that happened when I was in high school that ushered me very quickly into roles where I did need to teach and understand people. So the Black Student Union, that's where I was able to run presentations. I helped members. I would advocate to the principal with different issues that was going on. It wasn't like I chose to be in this. It was my calling. So I was guided to be in these roles. And honestly, it comes from knowing your attendees, knowing the people you're talking to, because authenticity is so important to me when I'm teaching, relating things to them where they can feel the message much more stronger because it resonates with their life in some way. And also the NAACP, so the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the oldest civil rights organization in America, that one, being in the youth council, wow. I mean, talk about creating student leaders. I was able to, through so many opportunities, just continue to step into my power. And so understanding my own power, my own impact was how I was able to lead and teach others to do the same. And I'm so grateful for those opportunities and truly how they've shaped me to be Destiny Amaris, the person I am today.
Introducing Dr. Patricia Timmerman Barbosa da Silva.
I love this question. What experiences most shape how you teach, lead, and guide others? I love to look at my life as a study, and I look at the different experiences that have shaped me, either in the person that I want to become, being the partner that I want to become, the employer that I want to become, the teacher that I want to become, as well as those that have guided me as to the person that I don't want to become. I can think in my romantic relationship, I've had experiences that allow me to understand the partner I didn't want to be, that I bring into my current marriage. Similarly, there was this amazing individual that I worked with, but I noticed that as an employee, I had a lot of anxiety in expressing different points of view. And that has allowed me to understand who was the boss that I wanted to be. And I wanted to be a boss that allowed and fostered a safe space for my employees to ask questions, to confront concepts if needed. Same thing in my professorship. When I teach, I like to provide a lot of information, but also create a space where people feel comfortable talking about their different perspectives, confronting, challenging, speaking different things. So I guess it's been a combination of experiences that have allowed me to understand that I want to create a safe space for people to speak in a free way.
Hi, I'm Jen Fontanilla, a creative business strategist, and the experience that most shaped how I teach, lead, or guide others today was being on the other side of coaching programs myself. So I've gone through a lot of different programs, some wonderful and some okay, not so much, but they all taught me what actually works and what just sounds good on a sales page. And what I noticed that landed for me were things like the accountability calls that kept me moving forward and the live events where real connection happened. I also noticed what didn't work, like having way too many video modules that I never finished or spending money on programs I didn't complete because either there was no real support or there was just way too much going on in the program. But what really shaped me was having conversations with clients and friends in this entrepreneurial space and seeing the shift happen in real time. Someone comes to me with a million ideas in their head. They're all over the place. They're completely overwhelmed and not knowing where to start. And after we talk, they tell me they have clarity now. They feel inspired and they know exactly what to focus on. So sometimes I'm just a sounding board, and a lot of times I'm the person who wrangles all those ideas together, organizes them, and helps pinpoint the one thing they need to focus on. And then we execute from there. So all of those experiences, from the good programs to the not so great programs to the conversations where I watched someone go from scattered to clear, taught me how to guide people. I'm creating the experience I needed when I was in their shoes.
Hi, I'm Jill Valdez, owner of Link Consulting. The question is, what experience most shaped how you teach, lead, or guide others today? For me, it was a season when I was carrying everything by myself. I was the one people relied on. I handled everything, and I didn't think I had a choice. From the outside, I looked fine, capable, steady, but inside, I was exhausted. I was tired all the time, and not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. I felt this quiet pressure to keep going, to not let anyone down, and to just push through. And I didn't know how to say, I need help, so I didn't. And there came a point when I realized I wasn't being strong anymore. I was just surviving. That season changed me. It showed me that doing everything alone isn't leadership and it isn't sustainable. So now when I guide others, I start there, helping people stop carrying it all by themselves and learn how to lead with honesty and connection instead.
My name is Kate Wells, and I'm the co-founder of Parlor Games and formulator of Silky Peach Cream. I love to teach. I was a high school teacher at the start of my career, and I love to find the message that sparks the light of recognition and understanding in someone's eyes. I have been involved with hormone health for 24 years and know that there are such gaps in understanding, and it is my mission to close those gaps. When I teach about hormones and their importance for health, I know I'm aligned with my purpose. I am in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. When I speak on podcasts, which I have done a lot, when I present to a group of practitioners, or when I'm talking to a customer on the phone, the stars align and my words are clear and my passion for helping comes through.
Congratulations on your 400th episode, Dr. Summer. I'm so honored to be part of it. This is Kathy Tajanel, Strategic Flow Architect and Advisor, and founder of Living Vibrantly. I loved your question. What has most shaped how I guide and advise women entrepreneurs and visionary leaders has been my experience with severe burnout and how I recovered from it. It didn't matter how much I wanted to do something, whether I had the skills, experience, knowledge to do it. If I wasn't able to work in a way that came naturally to me, that allowed my energy to flow, it ultimately would lead into burnout. And I had to learn that lesson multiple times to fully understand it and fully recover and heal from it. Everything is energy. And once I discovered my own energetic rhythm and how to work with it, I was able to come into alignment with who I truly am. And I'm able to create with joy and succeed without burnout. And yes, it's taken me many years to fully unwrap this gift. But now my passion is sharing with others how they too can find the freedom to flourish.
Hi, I'm Kim Insana from Always on Digital. For me, the experience that has shaped the way I lead others was when I became a parent. Juggling motherhood in an executive role was a challenge for me early on. And I realized that I need to have empathy for others as they went through these changes because not everyone enters into motherhood in the same way. And it's important, especially as children get older and start entering school, to understand the sick days and all of that. The time that people need to take off doesn't necessarily take away from the work that they put in the company, but maybe they just need to work hours that suit them, that allow them to get the job done, but also be there for their family. And to me, that's the most important thing.
Hi, I'm Noemi Beres. I run Podcast Connections, where I help experts and leaders build visibility and trust through podcast guesting. The question I'm answering is, what experience most shaped how you teach, lead, or guide others today? For me, it was loss and rebuilding. Losing my father and my grandmother, and later losing my business during the pandemic, changed how I relate to people completely. Those experiences taught me that when life gets heavy, people don't need to be pushed or fixed. They need presence, space, and someone who can slow things down with them. That's how I lead today, calmly, without urgency. I focus on listening, creating clarity, and letting conversations unfold naturally. Whether I'm supporting clients or guiding others, I lead from trust, not pressure. That shift from performance to presence has shaped everything I do.
Hi, I'm Portia Parker Griffin. What experience most shaped how you teach, lead, or guide others today? I would say that it was my first office job out of college. I was a consultant in the client services department of a financial consulting firm, and what we consulted on was painfully boring to most people. And about 2 years into the job, our sales director approached me about joining the sales team. And for him to have that belief in me was really kind of shocking to me because he wasn't a family member, he wasn't a friend, and this is someone outside in the professional world seeing me as a young professional with potential. He was my mentor for a short time, and that experience really encouraged me to jump in and figure things out, right? And that eventually led to me starting my own business where I have been solving problems and figuring things out with clients ever since. And what I do in my job is I hold that belief in my client's success the same way that sales director did for me in my first job.
Hi, my name is Sejal Thacker. The experience that has most shaped how I teach, lead, and guide others is becoming a mom. Before motherhood, I led with what thought leadership was supposed to look like: confidence, decisiveness, and having all the answers. And don't get me wrong, those things certainly matter, but becoming a mom has changed the way that I look at leadership in a much more human way. When you're raising a child, you quickly learn that you can't control outcomes. You can only create conditions. You can create safety, you can create trust, you can create consistency, but ultimately growth happens in its own time. I stopped trying to fix people and started focusing on how to support them. I became more patient with learning curves and became more curious about what's actually going on beneath the surface. Motherhood also taught me presence. Kids don't care about your resume or your title. They care about whether you're actually there, whether you're listening, noticing, responding. And finally, being a mom taught me compassion for others, but also for myself. Leadership isn't about never making mistakes. It's about modeling accountability, repair, and growth. So the way I teach, lead, and guide today is deeply shaped by motherhood, less about control, more about connection, less about having all the answers, and more about creating space for people to grow into their own. Thank you, Summer, for including me in this wonderful initiative.
This is Shay Sparks. What experience has most shaped how I teach, lead, and guide others today? I would have to say the experience that shaped me the most was really a relationship that ended. And he ended it for the reason of he said he was holding me back. And what I took away from that was, how are we mirrors of each other? So not that he was holding me back. I got to thinking, how am I holding myself back? And I started to heal, live, lead, and guide others from a place of, how are we all holding ourselves back? What do we wish we could do but didn't have the courage, or we were too afraid to do it? And I have really been leaning into that place. And I'm finding when I talk to others and lead others and really have great conversations that they didn't even think about how they're holding themselves back. So for me, that's really the experience that shaped everything that I am right now. Hopefully it shapes who you are as well.
As we close this 400th episode, I just want to pause and say thank you to every guest who trusted this space, to every listener who showed up with curiosity, and to every future voice who will share a conversation with me on the Core Women podcast. This podcast has never been just about interviews. It's been about connection, reflection, and growth together. Leadership is not built in isolation. It's built in conversation. So I'll leave you with this. What experience shaped how you lead today? I would truly love to hear from you. Reach out, share your story, and continue this dialogue with me. Here's to the next conversation ahead. Thank you for being a part of the Core Women community.
Thank you for joining us on the Core Women podcast with Dr. Summer Watson. We're so glad you're here and would love to connect more with you. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Core Women, and on Twitter at Core Women 1. For more about Core Women and Dr. Watson, visit corewomen.com. Want more support and resources for amazing women like you? Great! Join Dr. Watson and Jen Fontanilla at the Life, Love, and Money Collective, a Core Women production that aids in understanding the key traits that might be getting in the way of living a life that you are absolutely passionate about. Connect with Summer and Jen and find out more at thelifeloveandmoney.com.